Hi, I'm Duckman from Couchcasters, and I am interviewing Ricardo from Camel 101, and their latest game is Those Who Remain.
Hello, I'm Ricardo. I'm one of the developers of Those Who Remain. I'm from a small indie studio called Camel 101. We are a three-man team. We just released our first psychological thriller, Those Who Remain.
Why does my heart go on beating? Why do these eyes of mine cry? Don't they know it's the end of the world? End of the world. Stay in the light.
Psychological horror set in a sleepy town of Dormant. But what led you to create such game? Why didn't you decide on something like a side scroller or something, I don't know, less horror?
There are a couple of reasons. First, our last three games were all in the sci-fi genre, so this time we wanted to create something different, something more down to earth, and that's why we chose small American town. But why horror?
Oh, great! Creepy scarecrows.
Our previous game was our first try at the horror genre, and we really liked it because we are all huge horror fans in the team. So after making our first game, we decided we wanted to try again and to make a second. It's like a personal test. It's really awesome to work on something that we also enjoy.
Totally understand you with that. My favorite genre is horror games. I play so many. And then reading up about the production of this game, it's yourself, Ricardo, and it is, of course, your brother as well, Bruno.
Yeah.
You're the two main developers.
And the artist Boris. We are the core team.
How was the working dynamic? Was it one of you would do environments, one of you would do people, and the other one might do like sort of soundtrack accompaniment? How did it work?
So my brother, he's like the heavy tech guy, so he takes care of almost all the coding. I'm more into gameplay design, the level design, etc. And then the artist, he does the environments and the creatures.
Oh, okay. Now we have.
Shit, what in the world is that thing?
I help him doing all the props in the buildings, placing a poster here, a couch, a stain in the wall. He creates the base of the scenes, and I help him doing all the decoration.
There's a light switch down here.
Why is there a random?
So yeah, between the three of us, we have a cool workflow, and it works really well.
Would you consider yourselves a small indie production or a bit further along?
We are an indie production, probably with a higher value, but still an indie production.
Next question is, you hear developers or filmmakers and actors alike, they say they never actually watch the final production, so some game developers never actually play the final production. Have you actually played the game, like from start to finish?
I played the game hundreds, if not thousands of times. It's hard to enjoy the game as a product because I've seen everything so many times, and I know all the tricks behind every scene and everything.
So no one tries to slip in a little jump scare that you didn't know about.
No.
You're reviewing the scene.
Not possible.
That's unfortunate. Since you've played the game thousands of times, you must have a favorite moment. What would your favorite moment be from the game?
When it's the first time that the player is introduced to the mechanic of changing to the different reality, and every time I watch players in that part, everyone has like that moment when they figure out that
I totally did.
so it was always very satisfying to watch that part.
Good choice. I will admit, I did die there a few times because I got a bit stumped. I think I can go round the house, actually. Oh. Maybe I can't go around the house. Personally, for myself, I think the running down the hallway from Mother.
With the furniture,
Yeah, with the furniture.
that's my second.
Yeah. Oh, I died there about 4 or 5 times.
With the chairs, with
Yeah,
the chairs.
It's the chairs that got me. Absolutely stumped me. Oh my god! Let me out! The game is based around light and dark, right and wrong, good or bad. With these fine lines being blurred at times, the player is given the choice to enact judgment on others based on the evidence they've studied. What gave you the inspiration for such a rich human concept and an understanding of right and wrong to be put in such a game?
I believe that the concept of right and wrong, it varies from each person to each person. You know, we didn't want to say this is wrong or this is bad. It's up to the player to make up that decision. So we didn't want to create evil characters or good characters. Everyone is just like any regular human being, and they just made a few mistakes. Just like in life, nothing's ever really just black or white. Everything's in shades of gray. Things are always much more complex than just zeros or ones.
It got me a few times because, of course, I streamed it, so I had a lot of viewers, and when without putting spoilers, of course, there were times where I actually conflicted my choice with what the viewers were having, and they would be like, "No, what are you doing?" And I found myself after making the choice almost having sort of a guilty conscience, and I streamed it over 2 days, so 2 sessions, and on the second one I thoroughly regretted some of my choices that I made in the first, and vice versa. Like some of them I wish I had done the opposite, and it was
In games, you actually are part of the story, and what you do affects the outcome of the story. So I think it's really important for games to give that kind of interaction to the player so that he can affect what's going to happen instead of just a continuous linear story, you know.
I agree. It does make the story more rich, and you sort of connect with it more. So I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
understand that. What games acted as the inspiration for Those Who Remain? Was there any inspirational games that sort of?
There are 2 games that I always have to mention because they were a huge inspiration to Silent Hill and Alan Wake.
While I was playing, I even mentioned that this had a very Alan Wake feel about it.
Yeah, the shadows in the dark,
exactly.
the light.
I didn't comprehend Silent Hill in that, actually. I didn't think that would have been one of the ones. Alan Wake, definitely, but I felt more vulnerable. Like, in Alan Wake, you had a choice, you had an option to maybe fight back. And this, I felt very vulnerable with.
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, it's a very different game. It doesn't have any action, so the player needs to or to hide or to run away when he's followed by monsters.
So offering a helping hand, how do you save the guy on top of the crate in the lumberyard? Because I just couldn't figure it out for the life of me, and I just had to sacrifice him.
He was going to shoot me. I bet he has
Oh, no.
shot others.
Too late now.
Oh.
Okay, so there's a part of the fence that has a symbol of a shovel and a tool. If you throw a barrel at that part of the fence breaks down, and you can go through there.
So chat was saying that the barrels had a bit of weight behind them, and because when I bumped into it, it made a really loud noise and everything.
I don't think you should condemn him to death just for being scared.
Yeah, that would be stupid. and I didn't comprehend picking that up and throwing it into it. Because, yeah, there's a lot of moments in the game where you have to pick things up
And
it
throw
out of the
stuff.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I completely sacrificed him because I couldn't. Oh, no. That was my biggest regret was killing him.
Well, he wasn't very nice.
No, he wasn't. He shot first.
Yeah.
To quote Star Wars.
He probably deserved it.
Definitely say I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I would also say it's probably one of the fair few games that's ever actually got me to read the letters, the text that's in it. Most of the time when I'm playing these sort of games like Outlast or something like that, I completely just skip it because skip. But this, I actually found a want to read it and actually figure out what was going on. And I think that's because the narrative was done just so well. Like it was like a story that I was walking through. And
Yeah, awesome.
One of the things that our community mentioned was this game potentially would make a very good VR game. Is that ever something that you'd potentially want to do or in the pipeline?
That is a great question. So when we started the game, we didn't know if we would ever make a VR port, but we made it so that the mechanics could easily be adapted to VR. Since we started showing the game, we get endless requests. Please make this game in VR. Please make a VR version. We would absolutely love to do it. So there isn't a decision yet, but it's probably going to happen.
So the reception's there. It's just putting in the extra bit of time just to port it over to.
Yeah. It's probably going to happen.
Well, heard it here first. So I think we might have covered the whole talk of VR, but what is next for Camel 101? Like, what's the next big thing?
We're probably going to stick to this genre, but just like we from our previous game to this one, we tried to create something new with different mechanics, different gameplay styles. We're probably going to try to make something new again in the same genre. Probably going to try increasing the team because just 3 guys, we can do some things, but
there's no thoughts of making a sequel to Those Who Remain?
Not a direct sequel, because we feel that the story of the main character, it starts and ends here. He's got closure. No, his story is finished. What we can do, move the action to a different place, to different characters. That can definitely happen.
I would 100% like to see that happen. Without giving it away, the main antagonist, I guess, the guy who likes to sit down a lot.
Exactly.
I would like to see him enacting what he's doing, but elsewhere. I'd 100% like to see. Oh!
Hi.
I don't exist. Yet I'm here.
He's a bad guy, but you can find something in him that you can actually relate to. He's not completely evil. He's not just a demon that burns people.
I found he was kind of like nature almost. Like it's neither good nor evil. It's just how it's meant to be.
Exactly.
And that's exactly how I found him.
He never actually does harm to anyone. He leads others to do harm to each other. He's like the spreader of chaos. He is a character that I really enjoyed creating. And
that's why if you did make a sequel, I'd really hopefully it's him, but somewhere else.
Well, if a sequel happens, he is going to be there.
Exactly.
So this has been our greatest project so far. It's also the game that we had the most fun with, creating all the characters, the setting, and the story. It's more than a game to us. It's like our small piece of art. The best thing that we can hear is that the players enjoyed it and had fun. So that's all we want, is for everyone to enjoy the game and have fun exploring Dormant and making choices.
Excellent.
So the game is available now on Steam, their digital stores for PC. It's on the Xbox Store and the PlayStation Store. On July 10, it's going to be available on retail too, for PlayStation 4 and PC. And later in the summer, there's a Switch version coming too.
Thank you so much for being a part of this interview.
Yeah, of course.
It's
It's
been
my
great.
pleasure. My absolute pleasure.